So good morning, everybody, and we have Anthony Hackett from Ametis Corporation. It's video analytics, and this is a part of our long-term video analytics CCTV series that we've been conducting here at InfraGard. We'd like to say good morning. Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
Good, great, just fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, and go ahead, Anthony. You're on. We're going to be talking about healthcare and transportation this morning. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so we're just kind of picking up from where we left off last time. When we think about, very basic analytics 101. What we're trying to do here is just try to educate the user group here to understand what are some of the applications for analytics. So last week we talked a little bit about education and retail. This week we're talking about transportation and healthcare. So just to kind of segue off of your last guest there, when you think about healthcare and where analytics can be applied, the first thing you have to do is really think about some of the business challenges that a hospital or healthcare agency facility might have. Certainly they want to decrease threats to their security group. They want to ensure procedural compliance. They want to reduce costs, no doubt about that. And so how do you apply analytics to solve some of these business challenges that you have? Certainly, right off the get-go, a quick win would be to secure restricted areas, whether it's inside the hospital or external. Think about all the gases, all the whole storage tanks that a hospital might have on the exterior of the facility. Analytics would do a real good job there protecting the perimeter that surrounds those types of storage tanks. When you think about the guard services that hospitals have to use, certainly analytics can help get the guard service more active, put them in a position to respond much more quickly, operate more efficiently by driving real-time alerts or information to a mobile device. Everyone has a BlackBerry these days. Ensuring procedural compliance can be taken in a lot of different ways. Certainly, hospital administrators don't have the time to go and inspect every single detail that's taking place in the hospitals. Having the intelligent video inside the hospital allows them to do a remote visit or to alert when something that should be taking place doesn't take place. And that can be from a private guard service firm to nurses or orderlies that are supposed to go through some type of procedure before they administer medications or retrieve those medicines from a secure area. And so those are real quick wins right off the bat. The overall bottom line, though, is the bottom line, and that is to reduce spending costs. So if you can use analytics to maybe make some efficiency improvements within the hospital, certainly there's a return on investment there that can be calculated.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. When you talk about decreasing the threats to security, ensuring procedural compliance and reducing spending, those are definitely the business challenges for a lot of companies out there, looking, at those business challenges within the healthcare industry. And Bill Murray kind of segued into that as well, on the information and data, on the data level as well. And the analytic applications that you mentioned are ripe, as we like to say in the industry. In addition to that, you have a lot of hospitals that do a lot of biotech research and things of that nature. So they've got a number of different areas where the applications for video analytics would come into play. Certainly, creating a pass, no pass type of situation, and then alerting when needed. Even if it's just a cleaner going into the area, just so people know, oh, listen, that was Joe, he's the cleaner, he's going in there, yes, he's on schedule. All right, not that he's going in there at 9 p.m. at night when he's scheduled to be there at 6 p.m. at night. There could be reasons and cause for concern if that was the case. All right, so that's what's going on there. So that
some of the things that we do in other industries always apply to whatever the relevant industry we're talking about, and in this case, healthcare. In the retail market, we see organized crime, taking what looks like garbage out to a trash bin, only to be recovered or retrieved at nighttime. The same thing happens in healthcare, whether it be physical goods or drugs that are thrown out in the trash on purpose and retrieved at night. We see areas where access control combined with video analytics can mitigate tailgating situations, count people. Think about a business administrator of a public hospital. Boy, if he could pull intelligence data off of those cameras to tell the public, look, at this month alone we received 3,000 visitors inside the emergency room. For every patient that comes in, there's two or at least people with that patient. So the demands for services are there, and they can clearly illustrate to the public just the impact that's being received by the hospital, the number of people coming in, not necessarily patients. Another area to think about too for some of our users is just the whole services component to a hospital. We have a scenario perhaps where you have kidney dialysis units, for example, where it might take 20 minutes to thoroughly clean or half an hour to thoroughly clean a kidney dialysis unit. Okay. When somebody shows up to the hospital to have that procedure done, they're there for a while, and the hospital takes a lot of effort to make sure that they're very comfortable in that setting. Well, if you're able to use your cameras to see which units have been attended by somebody that was there for more than, say, 15 minutes, you can easily identify dialysis units that may not be cleaned and better direct the staff to those units rather than going through each individual one and wasting time. We can be more productive by looking at the dialysis units that haven't had any attention in a while. And so that's just one example.
That's another very interesting example that you've come up with there. Hey, we're running close on time. Why don't you take us into the transportation area and discuss some of the business challenges there, right?
Yeah, sure. So when you think about transportation, think about everything from airports to train stations, even departments of transportation. Certainly the number one goal or business challenge is to increase security. When we're talking about security, obviously you want to provide as much as you can at the best possible or lowest cost. We want to increase or help increase travel frequency and enhance the customer experience. So how does that happen with analytics? Well, first of all, from reducing the threat, we can alert when people obviously break certain restricted areas, if they go into a tunnel, if they're on the track, for example. But since we're doing the analytics in that field of view, we can also tell the metro station how many riders or how often is this platform busy, what times during the day are the peak travel periods as opposed to not so busy times. So there's both a big business benefit and a security benefit as well. We just finished up Munich International Airport. 5,000 users on this system, so everybody from the parking garage people all the way to the air traffic control center is using the system with thousands of cameras, thousands of IOs. It's a great success story. We have actually a video from a customer standpoint at our website on Ametis.com.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Tony, tell me how, especially in this transportation industry, where I know there's an interest on volume, the volume of people, the packages and things, to be identified or not be identified. How much has the video analytics really improved? I know the false positives and the false negatives were a big issue a few years ago. If I've got my camera trained at everybody who's coming onto the airport property, and if there's, let's say, 10 people a minute coming through the door, all right, how good is the video analytics at picking these people up?
Well, it's a very interesting question because it's only as good as the integrator, if you will, the trained professional. I go back to your video that you put together on CCTV. People definitely have to be trained and understand where there are limitations and where analytics are going to work very well. We think about the Newark case where somebody went the wrong way back into the terminal. I think every analytic provider put up their hands and said, geez, if we had analytics running on that camera, wrong ray detection would have caught that immediately. So there's definitely improvements. What you're talking about there, technically speaking, in the computer vision world, is something what we call object segmentation. In other words, when we look at a group of people, does the analytics see it as a giant blob, or are they able to kind of look at each individual person and trace and track where they're going? This is definitely where analytics is making some incredible improvements, and you'll see that either by the end of this year or into next year, you'll see I would think a lot of improvement in object segmentation and tracking of specific individuals throughout the scene, which is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, well, you're calling it by its technical term, and thank you for that. All right, this object segmentation. It goes a lot to identifying people and vehicles, to alerting people, to measuring, to a lot of ways, I think, passenger occupancy and understanding, different flows and things like that. And really being able to pick out, the apple in a patch of oranges, so to speak. It's obviously it's not that clear, but that's kind of where we're going with that. Well, listen, we're up on our time. All right, appreciate you coming in this week. All right, we look forward to more coming on next week with you. All right, and once again, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Right, bye.